Mother's Day is a time when we honor and we celebrate the women who have played an important and an integral role in our lives. It is not an exaggeration by any means to say that not one of us would be here if it were not for our mothers. So happy Mother's Day. We also recognize that there are those, perhaps today, who struggle in their relationship with their mother, or who have struggled to become a mother. And so while we celebrate and highlight motherhood today, know that your struggle will not go unnoticed, that your struggle will not be in vain. God sees you, and He hears you, and He hears every prayer that you give Him, and He holds those dearly. He loves you. And it's because of His great love that we get to meet the very first mother in the garden, Eve. And I know you're saying to yourself, oh no, not back to Genesis. Don't worry. God looked upon Adam and He knew something just wasn't right, wasn't complete. He needed a wife, and consequently mankind received a mother. And now, hundreds of generations later, we need our moms just as much as ever. Amen? As we think about this vital role that moms play in our lives, in our communities, in our churches, we're going to look at 4 ways, specific ways, that we can honor and celebrate our mothers. We're going to see that we can honor them with respect, we can honor them with time, we can honor them with love, and we can honor their sacrifice. Being a mom is not simply about cooking great meals, or helping with homework, or being an unpaid Uber driver, because that's what you are. You're an unpaid Uber driver. You're a chauffeur who takes your kids around from sporting event to sporting event. But we'd be remiss to ignore the sheer amount of time that moms commit in service, in acts of love to their families. Here are 5 facts that you may not know about how mothers spend their time this week. Pay attention. Mothers spend on average 14 hours a week on household chores. Cooking, cleaning, laundry. That's according to the Bureau of Labor. Mothers spend an average of 6 hours per week driving their children around from activity to activity. Unless you're the Mingus family, then that number may triple. Mothers spend on average 4.5 hours a week helping their children with homework. That's according to the National Center for Education. And mothers spend an average of 3 hours per week volunteering at their kids' school or some type of function. And lastly, mothers spend on average 7 hours a week caring for their children, doing such activities such as playing with them, reading to them, and helping with personal care or grooming for those kids that still need help grooming. That's according to the Pew Research Center. Friends, this doesn't even consider all the phone calls, all the emails, and all the conversations that must take place every single week when you have kids. All that to being said, being a mother is an intense gig, I like to say. It's an intense job. Can you imagine if a job application simply said at the very top, needed mother, demanding, little pay, little gratitude, little recognition of a job well done. Apply within. How many moms did we get applied with an application like that? And all the moms are saying amen. Friends, it's for this very reason that we give honor where honor is due this morning. And that's to mothers. Honor, friends, in the Bible means this. It means to esteem or to value or to give great respect. In the Hebrew, surprisingly, this word is kavod. This is the same word that's used for glory. It's the same word in Greek. It's doxa in Greek. It is to give glory, to give something weight or heaviness or importance or significance. To honor someone is to value them highly and to bestow upon them a certain amount of recognition. And friends, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at 4 ways that we can honor that we can esteem, that we can value, that we can give importance to our moms. If you have your notes, you'll notice it's very nice and neat and tidy today. You're going to honor your mother with respect. Everybody say respect. You're going to honor your mother with time. Everybody say time. You're going to honor your mother with love. Everybody say love. And you're going to honor your mother's sacrifice. Everybody say sacrifice. Two passages, one from the Old Testament, one from the New, which tells us what the Bible says about how we are to treat our mothers. Old Testament, Exodus, if you have your Bibles and you'd like to flip there. It's the book, by the way, right after Genesis that we've been in for over a year. So I know you guys are like, is there another book that we're... Yeah, there's one right after this. Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12 tells us the following. It says, "Honor your father and mother, then you will live a long, full life in the land that the Lord your God is giving you." Similarly, in the New Testament, Paul to the letter in Ephesians 6:23 says this, almost identical. Listen how close. It says, "Honor your father and your mother. This here is the very first command with a promise. If you honor your father and your mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on the earth." Friends, the Bible simply doesn't tell us what to do when it comes to our mother. It commands us. And the command is honor. I was reminded this week as I read through this, both times I read through it, once earlier in the week and once later in the week, just to make sure what I read in the beginning of the week still feels true and applicable to you today at the end of the week. And I kept coming back to this same question or comment, and it just simply says this: it's a command, not a suggestion. What do I mean by that? Well, friends, if you are a Christ follower, and you're like Carson today, and you went under the water and you came out in a public demonstration that you are indeed a Christ follower, this is a command. God is telling you, honor your mother. Not honor her when you feel like it. Say that would be a suggestion. Or honor her because she deserves honor. Doesn't say that. That would be a conditional command. This is just a command. Simply honor your mother. But I know you're saying, some of you, "Pastor, you don't know my mother. You don't know how mean she was to me growing up. She doesn't deserve any honor." To that, friends, I will tell you, it doesn't matter. The Bible is quite clear right here with this command. Honor your mother. It's not conditional. It's necessary. And it says if you do that, we're promised long life. The first way we can show our mothers that we honor them is by respecting them. How do we do that? This is the first real-world application. And if you're visiting here today, this is unusual, what I'm doing today. So, in a certain sense. What we do is I like to read the Scripture, and I like to get all the way through to the very end, and I like to give you 3 application points. Today, we're going to go one by one because I don't want you to miss them. The first question I have to you is, friends, how do you and I respect our mothers specifically today? Practically today. And I put 2 words. You want to write these down in your notes if you have them. With your mouth and your ears. Some of you who are more creative, you might want to draw a pair of lips and a pair of ears. Just so when you look back at your notes this week, you'll think to yourself, what in the world was I thinking when I wrote lips? And then you'll remember mouth. We respect our mothers when we speak to them kindly and politely. Kindly and politely. And we listen to them attentively. And friends, it's no coincidence that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. 2 ears to listen twice as long for everything we like to say to our mothers. Listen to them, speak to them with respect. I watched, and I very rarely do this, but I was watching the news this week, and I saw the president come on. And I know you're thinking president and respect. These 2 words, maybe for some of you, don't go well together. The position of the president, if you've ever seen people who meet that person, whether it's Biden or the person before him or the president before him. There is a large amount of respect, and you can tell it simply by their posture. A lot of eye contact, a lot of head shaking, a lot of hand shaking. And then when they're listening, you can tell they're listening attentively. Friends, it's all these subtle, subliminal messages to let you know, I really respect this person. I really respect what they have to say. Would that not be great if we treated our moms like that? That we listened attentively to what they had to say. And I just put a little asterisk here. You do this even when you disagree with your mother. And I know there's a big gasp. I would never disagree with my mother. Friends, you can still disagree, and I put in a respectful manner. And you do that out of love. You do that out of respect. You avoid harsh words. You avoid hurtful words. And instead, you show them the love and respect that they deserve. I put down just a side note, and I don't know why I did this yesterday, just in the morning. I just put, honor her wishes, her ideas, and her dreams. When was the last time you sat down, especially you grown folk that still have your moms, and you've just asked her, Mom, what is your dream? What can you share with me a dream? And just take interest in, because grown moms still have dreams. Believe it or not, young kids, their lives are not all wrapped around you. It may seem that sometimes. How great would it be just to sit down and respect her point of view? I may not agree with it, but I can still respect her point of view. Mom, tell me about your wishes, your ideas, your dreams. So that's the first way we honor our mothers. It's with respect. If you have your outline, you can circle the word respect there at the very top. The second way deals with the most valuable commodity that you and I have. That's our time. Right? How do we show our mothers that we respect them? We do so with time. The Apostle Paul continues here, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 to 17, says this regarding time. It says, so be careful, brothers and sisters, how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. There's a certain thoughtfulness that goes into how we use our time. And if you value your time, which I know you do, because I do the same, if you value your time and you value your mom, shouldn't those two coincide together? If you really want to value your mom, you spend time with her. What does that look like? Well, I just put down, it's going to look different for you than it does for me. It's going to look different for the Barretts because their mom is right here. Thank you. Brother James, it's easy for you. Your mom's right next to you today. For those of us whose moms have either passed or are far off, it will look different. Tangibly, how do we do that this week? If you want to honor your mom with your time, what does that look like? I put, for those of you who don't have your moms right here, might be a phone call. Or if you're lucky, a FaceTime call. If your mom's capable to know which button to push to get that to work. What a great treat it would be just to reach out to her and say, Mom, I'd love to talk to you this week. I'm still shocked by my grown kids when they just out of the blue call and they don't ask for money. They're just calling just to say, Dad, how are you doing? There's something about that dedication of your time that shows your mom how important she is in your life. After all, it's the most valuable and precious commodity. Why not spend that commodity on a precious relationship that you have with your mom? That's how you can do that this week. On your outline, write this word. Visit, if you're a Barrett, visit. Or call, or both. It's a mental reminder as we write it. Then we look back at our notes this week. We go, oh, yeah, you know what? I need to ring. Because you know what happens? Monday happens, and things get busy, and there's FFA and FHA and every other kind of acronym that you can think of that happens during the week. And then we get lost. And then that time when we're supposed to spend with our mom undoubtedly gets lost. But if it's in your outline and you look back and you're reviewing it, you go, oh, yeah, I need to call Mom this week. Third, honor your mother with love. John's gospel gives us yet another commandment to obey as Christ followers. John 13:34 says this, "So now I am giving you a new commandment, love one another, just as I have loved you, so you too may love one another." Right? The Bible tells us that we should honor our mothers with love. And I want you to repeat after me because this keeps everybody awake, keeps everybody on their toes. Are you ready? Biblical love. Okay, we got 100% participation. That was only the moms that were saying that. Biblical love is not merely an emotion. It's an action. All throughout the Bible, folks, when specifically Jesus is referring to agape love, it's an action love. It's not something that says, oh, I feel wonderful about you today, like you have a puppy love. This is not that. This is an action. It says, I love you so much so that I'm going to take action. He says later in John 14, if you love me, you'll what? You'll obey my commands, my commandments. We should express our love with our mothers both in words and in actions, not simply telling her that we love her, which is great in and of itself. Every mother wants to hear that. But we show them, demonstrate through an action. What does that look like, you're saying? I'm glad you asked. In our study on Wednesdays that we just finished in Ephesians, this was brought up, the 5 love languages. Everybody read that book? Okay. Why do I bring that up today? It's important when you reach out to your mother that you know how she wants to be loved. If the commandment is to go love your mother, and you're going to say, I'm going to go over and I'm going to show her by washing her car, and that's not her love language, don't get me wrong, she'll appreciate a clean car, but she won't feel loved. And so you have to understand what that love language is. Perhaps it's buying them a thoughtful gift or making them a thoughtful gift if you're crafty. Maybe it's cooking them a special meal. Maybe it's simply spending quality time. See, friends, that's what my mother's love language is. Quality time. She'd rather just have all the kids there at the house, hanging around, not worrying about meals, everybody just reminiscing and joking. That, for my mother, is love. So, fellas, let me save you $10 from going out and buying this book. Pay attention. Here's the 5 love languages. Are you ready? Quality time. That's the first one. So you need to find out if your mom, if that's the way she feels loved, is if you go spend time with her. Second is acts of service. This is you doing something for her. Changing a light bulb, cutting her grass, changing the air filters. You fill in the blank there. Third is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation. Telling her how much she's appreciated. Gifts. I dare say every mother has this special. No, I'm joking. Not every mother loves gifts, but some do. And some really feel loved when you give them. And it's not a high-dollar gift. It's just something that shows you honor them. Or physical touch. Somebody just likes to be hugged, like to have a kiss on the cheek. Some moms are just really wired that way, that they feel loved. So how do we shower our moms with love this week? This is where you take a note. First find out what her love language is, and then just do that. Because we're commanded to do that. It's not optional. And when we love her, we not only honor her, but we fulfill God's command to love one another. Which brings me here to my last point. Fourth and final point, all the fathers are saying yes, all the mothers are saying no. We're there already. Honor her sacrifice. What's probably the most famous verse in John, the Gospel of John? Even if you're not a Bible-going person. John 3:16. For God so loved the world, right? You know what the second verse that doesn't get any attention? 1 John 3:16. Do you know 1 John 3:16? Everybody knows John 3:16. Poor 1 John 3:16. Listen to what this says. If you love me, he says this. He says, we know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. So we ought to give up our lives for one another's. for one another. This includes our brothers, our sisters, any Christ follower, including our moms. When I think about moms, I think about this word, self-sacrifice. Kids, look at me real quick. I'm looking at all eyes real quick. Your moms sacrifice. Do you realize that? Tremendously. What are some ways moms sacrifice? I just wrote 3. They give up their time. They often prioritize your needs as children and some of their husbands fall in this same children's category. They prioritize their needs over their own, and they sacrifice their time to take care of you guys. This includes staying up late at night, finishing chores, waking up early in the morning, preparing breakfast, getting clothes ready, getting stuff organized. And by the way, they also take off work whenever you're too sick to take care of yourself. They give up their time. Second, this is probably one that didn't even strike me, but I think is worth saying. Friends, they put their dreams on hold. Do you realize that? Your mom had dreams sometime, and it wasn't driving you around soccer practice. Oh, they may have told you that was their dream, but they had real dreams themselves, and they put those on hold. They put their own ambitions, their own goals on hold to focus on you and to raising the children and to preparing a family. They postpone maybe education or career advancement or both, and they put aside their personal aspirations. Self-sacrifice. And lastly, financial sacrifice. Mothers often make financial sacrifices to provide for their children. This can include cutting back on personal expenses, or working multiple jobs, or giving up a career to stay at home for you guys. All ways that they show sacrifice for you. My own father, who's now passed a couple years, he told me one time I wrote him just a letter, just as I had gotten older and I started to realize exactly what he had sacrificed. I just said, hey, small note. I get it now. I get what, I'm now a dad. I get it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Young ladies who still have your moms, would that not be phenomenal if you told them, hey, I get it. I get what you did. I appreciate that sacrifice. I just put down, it's a random thank you note. It's a random call. Hey, just thinking about you, Mom. How you doing today? Hey, I appreciate that, all you did for us growing up. You got any dreams that you never shared with me before? Your moms would probably say, who is this on the phone right now? Friends, I'm just going to end with this. If your mother was less than motherly, just know this. They're imperfect people too. They sin from time to time too. Just like any other relationship, they'll let you down from time to time. But think about it. Being a mom is an intense gig. It is a lot of work. Friends, we can show them honor with respecting them, showing them and giving them our time, finding out how they want to be loved and loving them well, and recognizing their sacrifices. And I just put down, today is great that we do that. Don't get me wrong. Mother's Day is a great day to do that. But friends, we really should be doing that every day. We shouldn't need one day where cards are 10 times as expensive and flowers are astronomical. Astronomical? Astronomical. Have you tried to buy flowers recently on Mother's Day? It's insane. Friends, the best way you can do this is you just wait till tomorrow. Oh, I see some of y'all have done that before. Thank you, moms. We love you. We couldn't do it without you. And all God's people said?